I was born 1945, October 27th, in Shreveport, Louisiana. My mother, single mom, and she had a lot of sisters and brothers. She was the baby of the family. My family was like a rural family. I was in the city with my mom, but her brothers and sisters were like in the rural area of San Francisco, of Louisiana. So she was being the youngest, and being young, having me, I was kind of passed around to my aunties and aunts. And my dad was not in the picture at the time. So as I came up, I was in the city of Shreveport playing with a kid. It's my first memory of interacting with other children of the ethnic group. And I was having a great time with this kid, and we were playing in the streets, and he was having a great time. But his mom looked out the window and told him to come in the house. And I asked my mom why, and she said it's because there's a difference, but don't worry about that. You just, do what you have to do. So I didn't ask any more questions, but as I grew up, was getting older and my perception was getting better, I noticed that there was a separation of colors. And I didn't really trip on that. So what I did is that later on in life, we moved to California. Mm-hmm. California, of course, is night and day of Louisiana because here everybody intermingled. But all ethnic groups intermingled, but it wasn't that you were like equal. You just intermingled. Mm-hmm. And so as I come to understand and change my way I speak, because I was speaking, country, as they say, they would call me country boy. Because of my dialect. And so I was kind of singled out when I was younger.
Oh, okay.
Now, I want to drag it out too long, but what I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of growing up. I had to do an adjustments that I had to come through, coming from that type of environment to California type environment. Mm. And as I came up through high school, I felt pressure from outward forces of society, and it wasn't good. It wasn't a good feeling. It was a bad feeling. I won't get into all of that, but I became angry, and I rebelled against a lot of things. And in the process of rebelling, my mother passed away. And that made me even angrier. And so my dad then moved into my life. My dad moved into my life. I moved to Southern California, Oxnard, California. Mm-hmm. I was attending Mission High School before I left. And I started my junior year in Oxnard, California. And that's where I started to really feel connected and feel whole because my dad was in my life, and I felt like I could do something, I could be somebody. Mm-hmm. So when I went down there, and my grades rose, 2 or 3%, and I, graduated from high school. Now, I was going to be a football player, but I decided that I would not get into football because I felt like those guys were just too big. They were too big to be getting here. I was going to go to Ventura College.
Yeah.
I came from when I graduated, I was the only one that graduated from that school in Oxnard because back in that day they had two times to graduate. winter and summer. I was a winter kid. So when I went to there, they only had one graduation. That was in the summer. So I got my classes signed off, and I walked out. So I would tell everybody I graduated at the top of my class. So,
All right.
but anyway, when I came back to San Francisco, I picked up odd end jobs, and I began to understand that I needed to make some progressive things in my life.
Okay.
I got in a computer class. I took up computer language, writing COBOL. That was COBOL language at that time, the very first language in computer. And I got sick. 2 weeks, I couldn't go to school. I had the flu. I get back to school. I'm the only minority in the class, and no one was willing to bring me up to date, up to speed. So consequently, I dropped out. Then I just kind of hung out on the corners and stuff, and I got a notice from the Department of Defense, rather, that I was being drafted. I had been in injury. I had had an injury about maybe a month or two. No, it was about 6 months earlier that injured my right shoulder. So I said, well, I'll use this as an excuse to not go to the Army. But they gave me an examination and said, no, you're 1A. Nothing wrong with you. Let's go.
All right.
Consequently, they drafted me, and that's how I got wind up in the Army.